back to this. Huh. 10. Well, why doesn't it stay there? Because it has not yet detached itself from things here below. Yet a time will come when it will uninterruptedly have vision, when it will no longer be bothered by a body. Therefore, all right, now we're going back to it. When the contemplative looks upon himself in the act of contemplation, he will see himself to be like its object. He feels himself to be united to himself in the way that an object is united to itself. That is, he'll experience himself as simple. Actually, we shouldn't say he will see. What he sees is not seen, not distinguished, not represented as a thing apart. The man who obtains the vision becomes, as it were, another being. He ceases to be himself, retains nothing of himself. Absorbed in the beyond, he's one with it. Like a center coincidental with another center. While the centers coincide, they're one. It's only in this sense that we can speak of the one as something separate. It's very difficult to describe this vision. How can we represent it? And how can we represent it as different from what seemed while we were contemplating it not to be other than ourselves? This is doubtless what is back of the injunction of the mystery religions which prohibit revelation to the uninitiated. The divine is not expressible, so the initiate is forbidden to speak of it to anyone who has not been fortunate enough to have beheld it himself. The vision, the man who saw becomes identical to what he saw. Hence he doesn't see, he's rather one with it. If he can only preserve a memory of what he had seen while thus absorbed, he'd possess within himself an image of what it was. In that state he had attained unity. Nothing within him or without affects diversity. When he makes his descent, when he makes his ascent, there was within him no disturbance, no anger, no emotion, desire, reason, or thought. Actually, such as an ascent, he's no longer himself. Filled with the divine, but yet he's still solitary at rest. Not returning to this side or that. He was at utter rest, having, so to say, become rest itself. It's in this state he busies himself no longer even with the beautiful. He has risen above beauty, and he's passed beyond even the choir of virtues. You have to leave beauty itself, and that's the stage he's talking about. You have to leave that vision. What is it like? He's like one who, penetrating the innermost sanctuary of a temple, leaves the temple images behind. Now, they'll be the first objects to strike his view coming out of the sanctuary. After this contemplation and communion, there's not with an image or a statue, but what they represent. So when he comes out of this, what does he return to? This. Because they're the first objects to strike his view coming out of the sanctuary. Such experience is hardly a vision. It's seeing of quite a different kind. It's self-radiance. It's a pure simplification, self-abandonment, a striving for union or repose. That is to say, one sees in the sanctuary. Anyone who tries to see in any other way will see nothing. Now, it's by the use of these riddles that the wise among the soothsayers expressed in riddles how the divinity is seen. Now, a wise priest reading the riddle will, once arrived in the realm beyond, achieve a true vision of the sanctuary. One who has not yet arrived and knows the sanctuary is invisible, is the source and principle of everything. That person, right? He will know. Know what? That by hypothesis is hypothesis known. Pardon me. I always do that. He will know that by hypostasis is hypostasis seen, and that like the alone joins the like. He'll leave aside nothing of the divine the soul is capable of acquiring. If his vision is incomplete, he'll attend to its completion. Completion is the one itself. It's not in the soul's nature to attain to utter nothingness. Falling into evil, it falls into nothingness. When it reverses direction, it arrives not at something different, but at itself. Thus, when it is not in anything, it is in nothing but itself. Yet, when it is in itself alone and not in being, that's the supreme. We then transcend being by virtue of the soul with which we are united. Now, if you look upon yourself in this state, you'll find yourself an image of the One. If you rise beyond yourself, as an image rising to its model, you'll reach the goal of your journey. When you fall from this vision, you will, by arousing the virtue within yourself and by remembering the perfection that you possess, regain that likeness. And through virtue, rise to the excellence, and through wisdom, attain to the One. Such is the life of divinity and of the divine and blessed men. Detachment from all things here below, scorn for all earthly pleasures. It's the flight of the lone to the alone. So that's what I wanted to take you through. And now, let me throw it open. I myself want to tell you I always enjoy every chance I can reading Plotinus, so it's a great pleasure to be able to share it with you. Yes?
What about the tension, the mystery?
Oh, well, you have to go beyond beauty, don't you? And that's a tension. That's a mystery. That's a tension. What is it like? What do you think it's like experiencing finally a real being? Now you know the ultimate reality. Now you have an ecstasy. Now you're in a state of bliss. Now you know the nature of the mind is equivalent to what it is you're experiencing. There's no difference between the subject and the object. Right? There's a true oneness. Wait a minute, there's something beyond that. About which you can't say anything. You can't even say nothing about it, because that suggests nothingness. And therefore there's a great tension about this mystery. Is there no?
Yeah, you created some tension.
Yeah, good. David?
Well, I guess what on the one hand, it seems as though Plotinus has contemplated the One, but then on the other hand, it seems as though that he always talks about the One in context with